Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Diablo 2. Look, I know I have a problem. I leveled another alt. I shouldn't, but look, I like leveling new characters, okay? And I really want to try this build, so we are here on my Fury Druid. I'll give a quick overview of the character first. We're 76, so pretty early. Do manage to have res nearly capped. We are in hell. We're going to go finish off Act 5 today, kill Bale, or try and kill Bale. We're running 200 strength, 75 dex, 270 vit. Everything's going to go into vit from now on. That's a lot of strength. And if you see my weapon, you probably know why. But we'll get into gear last. We'll start with the summoning tree. We have 1 point in each of these. We run Oak Sage for the extra life, and excess skill points are going to start going into Oak Sage just for the extra life and healing. It's good sustain. We have 1 point each in Solar Creeper and Carrion Vine for a little bit of mana and life sustain for mapping as well. And on the shapeshifting, we have Fury, Feral Rage, Werewolf, and Lycanthropy fully maxed. 20 points in each of those. And like I said, the rest of my skills are all going to go into Oak Sage now. We have nothing here in Elemental. We can't use Gust when we're in our Werewolf form, so no point in putting any points there. So, yeah. Finally, we have gear. I have a single Shapeshift Skiller with some cold damage on it. I think this dropped in hits on my Paladin, maybe? I forget when I got it. The rest of this is all just, like, resistances, basically. We are just looking to get resistances for most of this. So, keeping us mostly res capped. You'll probably recognize these boots. I don't know what's going on with him. These are the boots we corrupted on our Paladin a while ago. So quad res boots with 30 FRW. Not bad. We're just using some really bad Langa hands, which will be replaced eventually. The increased attack speed on these is useless. We don't care about attack speed on anything other than our weapon and werewolf form. So, like, attack speed on gear doesn't do anything. We are using this crafted ring here. This is a blood craft that just so happened to roll lightning res and 11 all res, so pretty good. Bunch of res, a little bit of life, energy, strength, lifesteal, all good stuff. We're using that Dungos with the Vitality Slam. Pretty nice. Ravenfrost we saw when we corrupted this on the Paladin as well. A little bit of PDR. We got this nice bounty craft. I just did a couple bounty craft amulets until we landed one with two shapeshifting. This one happened to be pretty good, 28 MF. It also rolled poison length reduced, which I like quite a lot. We're just using a smoke here, and we're using a Jalal's. It's a 2/2, and I just threw a topaz in there for now. The main item here is a bonehew. So it's 4 open socket bonehew. It's not Eth. Ideally, this will be replaced with a 4 open socket Eth, and corrupted with an EDIAS slam would be ideal. We have 3 15 IAS jewels in there. One has fire whereas one has poison res. And then we have a Dole rune in there for the extra enhanced damage. You can see top end 765. Pretty good. The Bone Spear did get nerfed to 22, down from 25. So it's only 2 Bone Spear procs, like projectiles, instead of 3. But still, our damage is pretty good. We'll get all of our summons going, transform, and without even having our Feral Rage stacks up, Fury is at 10k damage. So pretty good, I'd say. And once we do get our Fury stacks up, or Rage stacks up, we move incredibly quick, attack incredibly quick. With this setup, we are currently doing a 4-frame attack. Yeah, it's very fast attacking, very fast move speed. The move speed bonus on it is how much? 110%. And as long as we make sure to keep one barrel rage attack in there every once in a while, we're good. So clear is really nice. We deal a ton of physical damage, so we are leeching like crazy. The leech, we have 10% when we're fully raged up. Our Mercenary is wearing a Heavenly Garb, Sanctuary Aura. This is a two-hander, not the two one-handed, so it's a concentration. So concentration is a magic skill, so this does actually help. And the Sanctuary Aura just helps us with killing Fizz Immune Undead. I have 2-piece IK on, just because I had them. Some random rare boots, a Demon Horns. I forget who we found this on. It rolled like terrible, but whatever. Some increased attack speed and some all res, a little bit of PDR and some skills. So that's fine. And then we have a Lacerator on him, just for the amplified damage. So it can help break most. If it's a naturally Fizz immune enemy, depending on the percentage, we can usually still break it. And if it's a Stone Skin unique, then we can usually still break it as well. But if it is a naturally Fizz immune who also had Stone Skin, then we can't break them. But other than that, we can break most Fizz immunes, which is more than enough. And the Bone Spear procs add a good chunk of magic damage as well, so it's not amazing magic damage or anything, but it's something. And it is a 50% chance to proc, so when it does go off, it's usually very good. But sometimes you just get bad rolls. But sometimes you get really good, and you just back-to-back get those Bone Spears off. The 3 levels lower in Bone Spear from the proc bonehew is, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a pretty big deal. It lowered the magic damage pretty significantly. But you can see the move speed is just insane. The reason I made this character is to be a mapper. I don't want to use my paladin as my mapper because, you know, elemental builds are... you're more restricted on what maps you can run. This build, unless it rolls like a physical res mod, like increased physical resistance, then we can basically run any map. So the amount of physical damage we do and the leech that we do is kind of insane. So with full fury up, we are at 11k damage, so... And like I said, we're on a 4-frame attack. The reason I went with 3 increased attack speed jewels instead of 4, because you can push it up to 90, and that does change your attack speed very slightly. It lowers the frames of your final hit by 1, so instead of it being 7, it drops it down to 6. But I'm less worried about that. Yeah, as long as we're attacking, basically, we shred. And we heal an insane amount. We got a lot of passive life regen just from the spirit. And the amount of life leech we have as well. Plus the life we get from the carrion vine. It's like something has to one-shot us in order to kill us. Which can happen. If you don't notice a group of dolls, then they can all blow up and one-shot you for sure. But it's a pretty safe build. You get a lot of bonus life from lycanthropy. So even though I'm running 200 strength to be able to use bonehew here, you'll notice I still have almost 1500 life, and I'm only level 76. So yeah. Very, very tanky. Now that is also partially to make up for the fact that Druid does not get a ton of life out of their vitality either. And I believe in Project Diablo 2, just like battle orders and battle command were changed, I believe the Spirit gives flat HP now instead of percent HP. I'm pretty sure it used to give percent HP, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's still like a ton. You can see, even though they're physical immune, we're still able to, between the little bit of elemental damage we have from things plus the magic damage on the Bone Spear procs, we're able to take care of them. The Lacerator and the amp damage proc is mostly for bosses. Or just any unique pack. Any unique stone skin packs, basically. Don't want him to die to the souls. Now, the one problem is I don't have any lifesteal on the Mercenary right now. So I gotta work on that. But he does get healed and has the regen from my vines and the spirit, which usually is enough to keep him alive for now.
Hello.
And this build is also, like, incredibly budget, guys. Like, it is a very, very cheap build. Nothing in here costs a lot of money. The Dungos might be the most expensive thing, and it's optional. You can just put on, like, a safety belt or just any whatever FHR belt you have. And the bonehew. This is a 4 open socket bonehew with, like, 290-something enhanced damage. It wasn't a great roll or anything, but it was 4 open socket and it was clean. And I got this for like a pull rune. Like, it was not bad at all. We also are like totally fine for res now that we have our scroll, so we can save on some charms down here now. Finally. Damage attack rating. It didn't roll very good on the damage though. So obviously when our rage runs out, it's only on a 30-second timer, and there's no way to increase that. We move fairly slow. But even once we just get a couple of stacks on, we start going quick. And we're killing everything right now because I need the XP. That is going to be the big thing that holds this build back right now, is that our level's very low, so we're just going to miss a lot of attacks. And in a physical build, if you are missing attacks, you are dying. So it is fairly important that we level up as soon as we can. But even at level 76, I'm still able to clear pits So I could already start pit farming totally fine on this character. I think it's incredibly easy. Oh yeah, when we get Stamina Shrine plus our Rage, it's like we zip around real quick. There is obviously a cap to how much you get diminishing returns from extra move speed, right? So it's less important for our boots to have like a 40 move speed roll because we could run no move speed on our boots and we would still be fine. Yeah, this build is a very strong one that you do not need a lot of investment in to make it good. I would definitely not level as a Fury Druid unless you're like me and don't like to respec. But you could easily level as a Fire Druid and then swap over in Nightmare, and you would save yourself a lot of time. But I leveled with just a Rib Cracker. And if you don't want to buy a bonehew, or if you just happen to not get one, where is my mercenary? There you are. So there we go. We had a stone skin pack, which, as you can see, can be much slower, but wow. You're kidding. Now, to be fair, I bought mine for very cheap, so let's see how this one rolls. It means that we can slam this one and maybe get something cool. You know, 3 open sockets or all skill. A lot of things it could roll. So we have another Jalal's. It's a 2/2. Defense rolled really good. Strength and energy both rolled well. Wow. Okay, let's slam it. We do have 8 shards. Fire res. Yeah, that's fine. Wait for that amp damage proc. That's a big deal, you know, when they're phys immune, that means we can't leech off of them, right? We definitely rely very heavy on the leech to stay alive. I do think this is a good option for a weapon, but like I said, you can get a Rib Cracker for a Worldstone Shard. Like, they are dirt cheap, and you'll be able to do really well for clearing. Early Hell will be difficult until you can up it, but I decided to just spend that pull rune instead of upping the Rib Cracker. I just decided to pick up the bonehew because I found one for really cheap. So now with the bonehew, there is the caveat that you need those IAS jewels because it's an ogre axe. It's a pretty slow base. So if you don't have enough IAS jewels, which if you're picking up jewels along the way, you should find some IAS jewels, and they can be any IAS jewels. They're totally fine. So, ooh. Champion pack. Oh, we're out of town goals. You can also just run a Reaper's Toll Act 2 Mercenary if you want as well. I'm just running the Might Aura for the extra damage. Until you can up your Rib Cracker, which is what I was using for most of my leveling, the Might Aura just helps big time with your damage. All of our points into Vitality. Right now we are just trying to get as tanky as possible, basically. So here we're going to get an extra 12 max life and an extra 4 replenish life. Not exactly sure how Ancients are going to go. And I know we're going to have a hard time with Bale because we're going to miss a lot. But slowly but surely, we can make it, I think.
I can't.
So, I want to go find the waypoint. Just in case I'm unable to do it. And I'd like to go buy some more town portals. I don't see any on the ground. I should have been keeping my eyes open for that. See, with your Feral Rage, as long as you throw in one hit every 30 seconds, you can keep your full stacks up. And that's basically the only micromanaging you have to do for the build. Otherwise, you just hold right-click. All of the Spirit and your Vines in Project Diablo 2 are untargetable. So you don't have to worry about them dying. So if you just make sure your Rage is up at all times and right-click. Now, if you wanted to, like, min-max the build, you would be looking at Grief, obviously. That's just going to be the best damage in general. And if you've been watching my content, you probably already know that I just hate Grief. I got a lot of problems with Vanilla D2. I know a lot of people like, swear by this game, but it had a lot of problems. And balance was one of them. I especially am not a big fan of rune words in general. Grief is like the extreme example of it, but like stealth is just the best armor you can wear while leveling for like any character objectively. And the same thing goes with Grief, right? You know, every other stat on Grief as a rune word is like useless. It doesn't do anything. It has some ignores target defense, but if you're playing a physical character, you're probably bossing, you know, Ubers and things like that, where ITD literally doesn't matter. And the rest of the stats mean basically nothing. It is just... the skill is just a stat stick, or the rune word is just a stat stick. That's all it does. And it's funny that those same people complain about, like, Diablo 3 itemization, like, oh, you know, it's just, you're just maxing your primary stat for your character, trying to get the biggest numbers possible, but then one of the most popular rune words in the game is literally just, here's a flat amount of damage that is more than any other weapon in the game, you know? So I'm glad that PD2, you know, nerfed it a little bit, but it is still, like, way overtuned. It's a dumb rune word. It's incredibly cheap, and the only useful stat on it is a big-ass chunk of flat damage. That's it. It's like, it's so dumb. I really don't like it. I think it's uninteresting, so I will never use Grief. But if you are a min-maxer and that's what you want to go for, obviously, you know, Grief and a Phase Blade is going to be your best option. But I much prefer the more interesting options here, like going with a bonehew. I think that is way more interesting. Ooh. Okay, well, when they have very high physical res and we don't have our amp damage.
Besting afternoon.
I'm assuming the boss is... Oh, it's... Yeah, Stone Skin. Okay, I thought so. Oh my god. Oh. I was not in werewolf form for some reason.
You greetings.
I don't know why.
What is it?
Well, we'll try our best here, but... Oh, didn't get my body. And Mercenary died. Well, okay then. Let's make a new game. I suppose we can sell it. We are 77.
Good afternoon.
Throw that in there. I did get a couple more interesting drops while leveling as well. Got this Spirit Shroud. Slam sucked, but, you know, and I got some Soul Drainers. These ones are interesting. Slamming attack speed on these is actually pretty cool. I don't like to use them, but they're still cool. We need to do some leveling. So how about we just go do a Diablo run? Here, Chaos Sanctuary. Some good XP. And not a lot of physical immunes, really, unless there's some stone skins, so... It's actually a decent build for Chaos runs. And I'm a little biased since, you know, this season I did find my first ever Burr rune in a Chaos Sanctuary run, so... The other option, if you want to run a Faith Mercenary, would be another way to go, right? I think it's a little overkill, but I don't think you benefit from the attack speed bonus, but you would get the damage bonus. You could run a Faith Mercenary as well if you wanted, I suppose, and go with the Vigor Aura. But again, I think all of that stuff is a little overkill. But you can just run a Reaper's Toll on your offhand and swap to the Reaper's Toll to get the amp damage proc whenever you need to break Physimians. And then if you wanted to do that, you could instead run Lawbringer on your Mercenary, right? And that would just let you get that Sanctuary Aura without having to use the armor like I am. But yeah, as you can see, a little slow at times, but that's mostly just because we don't have our levels for the attack speed, and, you know, still need some more skillers, and could definitely do with some better damage charms. Swapping over to a Zod Eth Bonehew will also just, like, make our damage skyrocket. That is the goal for this build, is to just buy an Eth 4 open socket Bonehew, and ideally get that slammed with ED. If you want to save up, I mean, I might just buy a whole bunch of Eth Bonehews from people, because you can usually get them for pretty cheap. People don't want them. And I could slam them myself, trying to hit an ED slam. But that would probably take my damage up a couple thousand, honestly. It would be a big deal. And, you know, there's other improvements you can make, like the IIS jewels that I'm using could be IIS and enhanced damage. You'll see here against Diablo, even though we don't really have we don't have much in the way of crushing blow or anything like that, and we still just decimate him, assuming we hit. Getting a lot of misses here. There we go. And it rolled mid.
Good day.
What do you need?
What do you need?
Not good, but it's there. Then let's go do pits. Mostly kill these things so I can get my rage stacks going. We have no problems clearing pits, even way under leveled. I think the next big investment for this character is going to be a fortitude. The most attainable thing. It's fairly cheap. So we're basically looking out for a 4 open socket armor. Ideally a good one. But just getting that big extra chunk of enhanced damage helps out a lot on that damage department. I believe it rolls around 250 to 300, if I remember correctly. In Project Diablo 2, that is. And as soon as we hit 85, we're just going to live in maps on this character. There won't be any MFing. That's why he's not wearing any kind of MF gear. He has that perfect topaz and the Jalals, but that was just there because, I mean, you saw, it made us drop that spirit shroud. Very quick pit runs.
Sisterhood welcomes you.
You can go do Trav. This is weird. Now, the Mercenary will die here. For sure. Just the Hydras. Almost for sure. He may live, weirdly enough. That is surprising. Yeah, not a whole lot that's gonna bother us on this build. Yeah, that's the one area this build kind of lacks in is cows. Actually, I haven't even killed Bale on Hell yet, so yeah, that's basically where the build is. I just need to grind out levels and finish off Hell difficulty. But yeah, very strong. I'll update with how mapping is going in a little bit, but very simple physical build. Maybe I'll pick up some Gore Riders soon. Yeah, if you guys like physical melee builds, this is a very fun one. You should try it out. It's a bit of a short one, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. Catch you on the next one. Take care.